In the desolate Canadian wilderness, a lone geologist labors with hammer and chisel, searching for Earth's most ancient physical secret. Beneath thick layers of ice and lichen lies an extraordinary metamorphic rock that has survived the brutal convulsions of our planet. High-precision laboratory analysis of uranium decay delivered a monumental shock, proving this specimen is precisely 4 billion years old. Known as the Acasta Gneiss, this resilient stone is the oldest rock on Earth, outlasting ancient continents, glaciers, and oceans. Yet, meteorites prove the Earth formed around 4.5 billion years ago, leaving a massive half-billion-year gap in history. Over 10% of our planet's earliest chronicle is completely missing, erased permanently from the physical geological record. What catastrophic cosmic events transpired during this forgotten dark age, long before the first crystals of Acasta took shape? Gravity pulled swirling specks of dust, pebbles, and massive boulders together, forming a molten protoplanet near the young sun. Deep inside this newborn Earth, heavy iron and nickel descended to the core, while a fragile, thin crust cooled on top. Everything seemed stable for the nascent world until an unthinkable cosmic apocalypse struck the early solar system. A rogue protoplanet named Theia, the size of Mars, slammed directly into the young Earth with terrifying orbital velocity. The unimaginable impact saw temperatures soar to thousands of degrees, vaporizing solid rock and stripping away both planetary crusts. Giant chunks of molten mantle were violently ejected into vacuum, forming a massive, glowing ring of debris around Earth. Any primitive atmospheric gases that clung to the early planet were blown away instantly by the cataclysmic energy. Molten droplets, pebbles, and giant boulders rained down constantly from space, lighting up the skies both day and night. The intense energy imparted by the crash sent our planet spinning wildly, completing a full rotation in just 5 hours. Over time, gravity began pulling the orbiting ring of debris together, fusing dust and boulders into a single body. The moon was officially born, glowing a dull, ominous red as its internal accretion. Heat slowly escaped into space. Floating 10 times closer than today, this ancient giant moon loomed extraordinarily massive in the dark Hadean sky. Weighing 1,000,000 trillion tons, this new gravitational neighbor was destined to reshape our world in terrifying ways. Floating extraordinarily close to Earth, the new giant moon exerted immense, violent gravitational forces upon the roiling planet below. These colossal gravitational tides dragged directly upon Earth's molten interior, creating giant, bulging waves of glowing liquid rock. As the Earth rotated rapidly, this unstoppable bulge of magma continuously shattered the fragile cooling surface crust. Liquid rock spilled constantly through giant cracks, freezing into glassy black obsidian, only to be violently smashed hours later. This was the early Earth, 4.2 billion years ago, an uninhabitable fiery hellscape ruled by endless volcanic fury. Geologists officially classify this terrifying era as the Hadean Eon, named directly after Hades, the Greek underworld of dead. Scorching surface temperatures exceeded 1,000 degrees, while toxic gases and lethal radiation permanently saturated the sky. As the Earth and Moon danced through space, they gradually traded orbital energy, slowly decelerating their rapid spin rates. Days and nights grew longer, while the Moon slowly drifted away at a rate of 4 centimeters every single year. As the Moon receded, its violent gravitational pull weakened, allowing Earth's crust to finally cool and stabilize on top. Enormous internal heat, trapped deep within the mantle, drove vast convection currents, sending superheated plumes toward the surface. Great shield volcanoes sprawled across the landscape, like open, weeping wounds, discharging endless streams of sticky black lava. Outgassing eruptions spewed massive volumes of water vapor, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen gas into the atmosphere. Held securely by the planet's gravity, these dense gases built up, forming Earth's very first real protective atmosphere. High in the cooling sky, water vapor condensed into dense clouds, triggering the first torrential rainstorms in planetary history. But this was no ordinary rain. Atmospheric carbon dioxide reacted with water, creating a highly potent corrosive acid rain. Burning acid rain poured relentlessly for thousands of years, carving deep canyons and gathering into corrosive, toxic rivers. Over time, these acidic waters pooled in low basins, giving birth to Earth's very first burning chemical oceans. Meanwhile, mantle currents beneath the young crust began tearing the surface rock apart, initiating primitive plate tectonics. Deep inside these rising mountain roots, intense pressure and heat rewired ordinary igneous rocks into metamorphic Acasta Gneiss. As massive mantle currents spread out horizontally beneath the young crust, they pulled giant rocky rafts across boiling liquid magma. Where these giant rocky plates violently collided, the Earth buckled upward, creating the very first mountain ranges in planetary history. Subduction zones plunged heavy crustal rock deep into the burning mantle, melting ancient minerals and recycling Earth's early physical surface. Continuous volcanic eruptions along fault lines injected superheated fluids into the newly formed, crushing subterranean rock structures. Deep inside these rising mountain roots, extreme pressure and heat transformed ordinary igneous rocks into durable metamorphic granite. Acidic rivers relentlessly eroded these new mountains, grinding hard rocks into fine grains that eventually formed ancient sandstone. Amidst this planetary destruction and rebirth, a single microscopic crystal of zircon began to form, deep within the magma, trapping tiny trace atoms of uranium inside its indestructible lattice. This microscopic mineral recorded the exact time of its birth, outliving the ancient mountains that forged it. This tiny crystal survived centuries of relentless subduction, erosion, and weathering. It preserved a physical memory of Earth's most violent epoch, waiting silently inside the rock for 4 billion years. Over millions of years, as internal mantle heat gradually escaped, Earth's fragile surface crust thickened into stable continental masses. These primitive granitic continental crusts floated like buoyant islands above the denser, darker basaltic rocks of the ocean floor. Shielded by their lighter density, these ancient landmasses avoided sinking into the burning mantle during tectonic collisions. The Canadian Shield emerged as one of these earliest continental fragments, forming a permanent anchor for future landforms. Within this resilient stone heartland, the Acasta Gneiss was forged, surviving nearly 90% of our planet's entire existence. It witnessed the birth of oceans, the shifting of primeval atmosphere, and the violent bombardment from outer space. While all surrounding rocks melted, subducted, or eroded away, this single mountain core stood completely immovable. Today, in the remote Northwest Territories, geologists painstakingly extract these ancient mineral samples from cold, lichen-covered stone. Each extracted grain of zircon acts as a microscopic time capsule, unlocking physical data from 4 billion years ago. The Acasta Gneiss guards Earth's earliest chapter, a silent stone witness to a hellish, forgotten world. Just as Earth's fragile crust began to stabilize, a new cosmic nightmare unleashed upon the early inner solar system. Gravitational instability from Jupiter and Saturn hurled millions of icy comets directly toward the young primordial Earth. Known to astronomers as the Late Heavy Bombardment, fiery impactors rained down for over 100 million years. Colossal impact craters pulverized the solid basaltic crust, melting localized rock faces back into glowing red magma pools. Yet, these deadly icy comets carried an invaluable cosmic gift that would permanently transform our hellish planet forever. Trapped inside their frozen structures were vast quantities of water ice alongside essential organic amino acid building blocks, vaporizing instantly upon high-velocity impact. This extraplanetary water vapor saturated the upper atmosphere, triggering non-stop global rain. Continuous torrential downpours cooled the scorched surface, filling vast tectonic basins to form the first permanent liquid oceans. These primitive waters were warm, highly mineralized, and dense with dissolved chemicals, creating a boiling planetary soup. Deep beneath these acidic waves, dark geothermal hydrothermal vents began pumping rich chemical energy into the ocean depths. Far away from lethal cosmic radiation on top, hydrothermal chimneys provided a stable, protected chemical reactor for life. Deep inside these porous mineral structures, organic molecules synthesized, utilizing thermal gradients and rich iron-sulfur catalysts. Simple chemical chains gradually organized into self-replicating molecular structures, creating the absolute first primitive protocells. Mainstream science once believed life was impossible during the violent Hadean Eon, but recent carbon anomalies shattered that dogma. Biogenic carbon isotopes trapped inside Acasta zircons prove living organisms existed 4.1 billion years ago. Life emerged almost instantly as soon as liquid water stabilized, displaying an invincible, terrifying capacity for survival. These microscopic extremophiles thrived in total blackness, feeding on pure sulfur, iron, and geothermal heat. They were the ultimate ancestral survivors, enduring constant asteroid strikes and toxic, suffocating atmospheric conditions. Every living creature on Earth today, from microscopic bacteria to humans, traces its genetic code back to these organisms. The Hadean Hell was not a dead wasteland, but a cosmic cauldron forging the very first ancestors of all life. As millennia passed, continuous torrential rains pulled massive amounts of carbon dioxide directly out of the Hadean atmosphere. Acidic downpours reacted violently with basalt rocks, dissolving iron, magnesium, and calcium, washes them straight into the sea. These dissolved minerals neutralized the ocean's acidity, locking away greenhouse gases inside thick subterranean carbonate sediments. Deprived of its dense greenhouse blanket, global atmospheric temperatures dropped, allowing the young Earth to cool down significantly. Sunlight finally pierced through the thinning smog, illuminating vast, iron-rich blue-green oceans stretching to the horizon. High above the cooled planet, the moon continued its silent retreat, drifting further into the deep, dark cosmic ocean. Reduced tidal forces stabilized Earth's crust, ending the era of giant magma tides and constant, violent planetary fractures. The primary continental blocks expanded, forming permanent granite platforms capable of withstanding millions of years of tectonic collisions. Within one of these ancient granite shields, the Acasta Gneiss lay safely buried, preserving the memory of hell. The brutal Hadean Eon was drawing to a close, handing the scarred world over to the dawn of Archean history. 4 billion years ago, the Earth officially entered the Archean Eon, marked by stable oceans, primitive continents, and resilient life. Microbial colonies spread rapidly across shallow shorelines, forming vast mineralized mats known as primitive stromatolite structures. These ancient biological factories began absorbing sunlight, laying the foundation for future atmospheric oxygen over millions of years. Yet, almost all physical rocks from this foundational era were destroyed, melted, or subducted by continuous plate recycling. Only a few miraculous mineral survivors remain today, holding the physical keys to our planet's most terrifying origin secrets. The Acasta Gneiss survived 4 billion years, enduring immense tectonic pressure, continental collisions, and relentless glacial erosion. It stands as a physical bridge to an alien Earth, a time when days lasted 5 hours and oceans boiled under acid rain. Geologists continue to search the Canadian Shield, hunting for even older mineral fragments hidden inside the icy stone. The dirt beneath our feet remembers every collision, every volcanic eruption, and every cosmic storm that shaped our world. The first 400 million years were a trial by fire, forging a hellish molten rock into a living planetary home. Deep beneath the cooling Archean seas, geothermal pressure unlocked rich chemical energy, sparking complex abiotic molecular reactions. Clay minerals and porous hydrothermal walls acted as microscopic catalysts, organizing simple amino acids into primitive genetic templates. These fragile protocells contained early RNA chains capable of replicating inside the dark, protected aquatic environments. Shielded from deadly cosmic ultraviolet radiation, early life expanded, forming resilient microbial mats across shallow volcanic basins. These ancient extremophiles absorbed dissolved minerals, constantly recycling iron and sulfur to power their primitive biological metabolism. Slowly, their biological activity altered ocean chemistry, precipitating massive iron oxides onto the dark primordial seafloor. These iron deposits formed banded iron formations, trapping a permanent record of Earth's earliest biological revolution. While volcanic eruptions still shook the crust, primitive life held its ground, adapting effortlessly to extreme planetary conditions. The Hadean hell was officially conquered, replaced by a living, breathing planet, driven by unstoppable biological forces. The groundwork for future complex evolution was firmly chiseled into stone. 4 billion years ago, as the young Earth's crust continued to cool, lightweight granitic cores consolidated, creating the planet's very first stable cratons. These massive continental roots extended deep into the mantle, acting as indestructible keels that anchored floating landmasses. Shielded by these deep mineral anchors, ancient rocks avoided subduction, surviving billions of years of continuous tectonic grinding. The slave craton in northern Canada formed during this foundational era, safely wrapping the Acasta Gneiss in stone. Within this indestructible geological fortress, microscopic zircon crystals remained pristine, untouched by thermal or structural decay. They guarded isotopic fingerprints, revealing the exact temperature, atmospheric chemistry, and ocean conditions of the Hadean Eon. Geologists analyzing these ancient zircon grains discovered evidence of liquid water existing much earlier than previously thought possible. This proved Earth cooled down rapidly, transforming from a molten hell into a water-covered world in record time. The primary continental anchors established, the basic structural layout from which all modern continents would eventually drift. The Acasta Gneiss successfully preserved its data, a silent stone vault holding the key to our origin story. Continuous volcanic outgassing during the late Hadean injected massive quantities of steam, carbon dioxide, and sulfur into the atmosphere. Massive basaltic lava plateaus spread across the crust, creating vast volcanic fields that constantly reshaped the early landscape. Heavy atmospheric pressure trapped intense thermal energy, maintaining a warm planetary greenhouse effect. Beneath dense cloud blankets, chemical weathering of volcanic minerals gradually released essential elements like potassium, phosphorus, and sodium into early oceans. These dissolved chemical building blocks enriched primordial marine waters, providing raw ingredients required for cellular development. Deep ocean trenches formed along active fault lines, creating protected subterranean environments far away from surface meteorite impacts. Submarine hydrothermal systems acted as giant chemical engines, pumping continuous thermal energy into the icy abyss. Microscopic mineral channels within these volcanic chimneys provided perfect physical chambers for early organic molecular assembly. Guided by geothermal heat and catalytic iron, primitive RNA strands stabilized, locking in the fundamental machinery of life. The early planet had successfully forged a permanent biochemical bridge connecting geology directly to biological evolution. As primitive plate tectonics matured, thick granite roots stabilized beneath the crust, forming indestructible continental shields. These ancient granitic cores protected early land masses, preventing them from melting back into the churning mantle below. Deep inside the Canadian shield, the Acasta Gneiss remained safely locked, surviving billions of years of intense continental collisions. Powerful magnetic fields generated by Earth's metallic core began creating a protective shield against deadly solar radiation. Deflecting high-energy cosmic rays away from the planet, this magnetosphere preserved the delicate condensing atmosphere. Protected from solar stripping, water molecules accumulated steadily, securing permanent global ocean coverage for millennia. Shallow coastal seas expanded around rising cratons, creating vast sunny environments, ideal for photosynthetic microbial life. Primitive single-celled organisms flourished in these shallows, forming layered mineralized structures known as ancient stromatolites. These ancient biological mats began releasing trace oxygen, initiating a slow chemical revolution that would eventually transform the world. The foundation for a living, breathing planet was permanently established inside the rocks of 4 billion years ago. As volcanic outgassing and comet impact continued, vast liquid basins filled, expanding the boundaries of primordial oceans. Dissolved minerals saturated the global waters, creating a chemical-dense soup ideal for complex organic molecular interactions. Primitive atmospheric layers steadily thicked, shielding the planet's surface from harsh, lethal solar ultraviolet radiation. Shallow marine environments warm up rapidly, fostering optimal thermal conditions for early biological cellular division and growth. Microscopic organisms adapted to extreme pressure, thriving deep inside submarine hydrothermal vents in absolute, total darkness. These resilient extremophiles processed raw chemicals, converting sulfur and iron into vital biological metabolic energy. Their continuous biological activity gradually altered the chemical composition of Earth's ancient, mineral-rich oceans. Massive banded iron formations precipitated out, locking away heavy elements in permanent subterranean geological strata. The Hadean planetary furnace cooled permanently, relinquishing control to the unstoppable forces of biological evolution. The primary chapter of life was written 4 billion years ago, chiseled securely into indestructible mineral crystals. Within those ancient, protected aquatic chambers, simple molecular chains assembled into the very first stable genetic codes. Primitive RNA and DNA strands replicated steadily, establishing the universal biochemical machinery shared by all living organisms. This genetic architecture survived endless asteroid impacts, intense volcanic activity, and severe global environmental shifts. Trapped inside indestructible Acasta zircon crystals, biogenic carbon traces retain physical proof of this early life. High-precision mass spectrometry confirmed these isotopes were unequivocally produced by active, living biological processes. Life did not merely survive on early Earth. It actively conquered the planet as soon as liquid water appeared. These microscopic single-celled ancestors laid the absolute groundwork for all future complex biological diversity. Every plant, animal, and human being today carries the genetic inheritance forged inside the Hadean ocean hell. The Acasta Gneiss safely guards this origin chronicle, an indestructible stone vault holding our planet's earliest memory. The ancient Earth had completed its violent transformation, shifting permanently from a molten furnace into a living world. The fundamental molecular machinery established inside Hadean hydrothermal vents became the exact biochemical blueprint for all future life. From single-celled oceanic bacteria to complex multicellular organisms, every living cell utilizes the exact same genetic language. The violent trial by fire endured during Earth's first 400 million years, forged an invincible biological architecture. Deep inside our modern human cells, energy-producing mitochondria still rely on ancient chemical cycles forged in the primal hell. We are not separate from the Hadean Earth. We are its living, breathing remnants, carrying its ancient thermal fire forward. Geologists analyzing the Acasta Gneiss continue unlocking isotopic records, proving our world recovered from planetary annihilation. The indestructible zircon crystals remain the absolute oldest physical witnesses to the birth of our ocean planet. Mainstream textbooks describe early Earth as a permanently dead wasteland, but the mineral data completely shattered that dogma. The ancient hellscape gave birth to the pristine cradle of evolution, locking its origins deep inside the crust. Acasta safely seals its 4-billion-year-old memory, an antediluvian stone vault humanity is finally beginning to read. A molten planetary furnace, a game-changing cosmic collision, and 400 million years of relentless, violent planetary transformation. The modern world is slowly realizing that our living Earth was forged inside a hell far more terrifying than imagined. The Earth isn't changing its dark history. We are simply, finally, learning how to read its most terrifying cosmic warnings. And judging by the incredible secrets pulled from the stone this year, we are only just scratching the freezing surface. Which of these ancient Hadean transformations do you honestly believe poses the most dangerous question to our existence? Drop your fascinating out-of-the-box theories in the comments section below and let us know what you believe is hidden. Make sure to subscribe to Remnants of Time right now so you never miss another dark, highly classified historical documentary. Hit the notification bell to join our elite circle of global investigators before the algorithms bury these dangerous truths forever. Thank you for watching. Stay vigilant, keep questioning, and we will see you all in the next deep, silent void. Until then, remember that the ground beneath your feet is always keeping score. Sleep well, knowing the past is actively watching.